Hi, everybody. Nice to see you again. Hopefully, you can hear me and see me. If you could just send me a wee comment and stuff down there just to say hello and just so that I know that you're listening and that you can hear me okay. And hopefully, all the comments and stuff will be okay for me to see, and I'll read them out as well. So, thank you very much for coming along. As always, I'll wait a few minutes just so that other people can join as well if they're a little bit late. Usually about 25 to, so I'll give about 5. There's Ali's back again. Hi, Ali, nice to see you. 2 weeks in a row, good for you. Or maybe it's 3, actually. I don't know. Maybe you were around the last week as well. But anyway, it's lovely to see you. And Uzma as well says, oh, hi from Ridda. Well, guess what, Ridda? You said last week, can I have a request for the tiger who came to tea? And your request is granted. Okay, so this is going to be my first book that I'm going to read today, The Tiger Who Came to Tea. I think everybody loves this book. Fantastic, great choice, Ridda. So excited today, good. And Azim's back as well, good, nice to see you, Azim. And Lily, hi Lily, thanks for joining us. I know that you're a big fan of cats as well, so this will be perfect for you. And Liba's here as well. Hi, Liba. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us as well. It's great to see so many people as well. So I think we've got 10 people already, which is great. I think that's already more than last week. So fantastic. Let's see if we can get up to 20. And if you do like the station, then give it a little thumbs up as well, because the more we do that, then the more that I know that the people are listening. And Maisha, hi, Maisha. Nice to see you. Maisha's listening as well. And of course, Miss Graham. I know that she likes a shout out as well. So hi, Miss Graham. How are you? Nice to see you. And Ridda says hello again. I know that, Ridda, I think you had about 5 or 6 mentions last week, but good for you. Why not? Hello, Miss Graham from Ridda as well. Oh, and Arush. Hi, Arush. How are you? Nice to see you. And Tybus was at Huria as well. Fantastic. Nice to see you. And you were joining in. So, just a reminder, Ridda's choice is going to be first, The Tiger Who Came to Tea. And then the second one will be one of my favourite stories, or a fairy tale to do with cats, because Hadia Ishak had said, can we have one on cats? So I thought Puss in Boots would be a great one as well. It's a fantastic fairy tale and lots of good pictures and illustrations in this one as well. It's a very old book, as you can probably see. It's a little bit tattered, but the stories are still the same, still as exciting as well. Right, I'll wait another minute or so before we start our first one. So let's see who else is here as well. So Arfa, lovely to see you, Arfa. Thanks for coming along. Fantastic. And Mariam as well. Got fantastic videos from Mariam as well, doing some of her gymnastics and boxing, which was fantastic. Good for you. And Miss Graham says, hello, the Ali family and all other St Albert's pupils as well. So a big shout out from Miss Graham. Thanks for watching. Also, just to say as well that last week we did some requests, and it was kind of thought that maybe there'd be a cat theme, because I think Ridda had suggested The Tiger Who Came to Tea first, and then Hadia had said, oh, maybe any story about cats. So obviously that meant a cat theme, because in case you didn't know, tigers are just big cats. So I thought for next week, if you want to come up with any ideas, then the theme will be... Can you see any of these? All these amazing stories written by one author, who I'm sure you've all heard of, Roald Dahl. Okay, so if you want to request a story by Roald Dahl, now the ones that I have got, you might have heard of some of them. In fact, you will have heard of some. You might have even seen some of the films as well of them, but some of them you might not know so well. So we have got The Giraffe, The Pelly and Me. So if you'd like that one, then let me know. Going Solo. There's one called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Has anybody heard of that? Of course we have. Yes, of course we have. The BFG, Big Friendly Giant. We've got George's Marvelous Medicine as well. We have got Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, which is the next in the series of the Charlies. We've got Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's another great film that's out. We've got The Enormous Crocodile. We have got James and the Giant Peach as well, which I remember my teacher reading me in primary 5. I know, that was a long time ago. We've got The Twits, which is a great one as well. We've got SEO Trot. We have got Matilda, which is a fantastic film if you get the chance to see it. Maybe you've seen it already, but it is a brilliant film. The Boy, Tales of Childhood. We have got The Witches as well, which I think I read most of in primary 3 around Halloween, and it was quite a scary one as well. If you've seen the film of The Witches, I still remember it when I was a little boy, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit as well, but it's quite good. And the last one is The Magic Finger. Well, not the last one, but the one here is A Magic Finger. And I don't want to pressurize anybody, but my favorite book of all time, if you can remember during book week, I made a little t-shirt. You had to draw inside it your favorite book of all time. And my favorite book was this one here, Danny, the Champion of the World. And I'm actually reading this to Owen and Sam just now during the lockdown. I think we're about in chapter 9 or 10. Next week, even if this one's not chosen, I'll tell you some of the reasons why this is my favorite book of all time. Okay, so if you have any ideas which one of the Roald Dahl books you'd like to hear, I will probably read maybe one chapter from it, or maybe two if we have time. Okay, so that's something for next week. So let's see who else is here. Right, so we have got, when will we go back to school? Hoorie is asking. Well, I think for the teachers, we are maybe going back next Monday, and that's so that we can prepare the school and the classrooms for when all the pupils come back in August. Okay, so you're going to get your summer holidays just like you normally would, and I think it's maybe August the 13th. The reason why I think it's August the 13th is because that's my little boy Sam's birthday, and he starts in primary 1 on his birthday. How weird is that? So yes, I think it's August the 13th when all the pupils are going back. Okay, so let's see what else is being said here. Do you have The Witches? Yes, I do. So if you would like The Witches, then maybe there might be quite a lot of requests. So what I'll do is I'll just pick a random one from all the requests, and if it's yours, great. But if not, you can always try next week. Okay. Good time, Mr. Corrigan. I have recorded the twits for next week. Wow. Great minds think alike from Miss Graham. So that would be good. So I probably won't choose the twits then, but I'll maybe choose, or maybe you'll choose one of the other ones. How are you, Mr. Corrigan from Marush? I'm very well. Thank you very much. I had some time in the sunshine this afternoon just before I came on here, so I'm looking a little bit red as well, although I did have my hat on, so hopefully it won't be too much. And Uzma says, yeah, Miss Graham, I'm excited. Hi, it's Abdullah Qureshi. Hi, Abdullah. Well, if Liba's there, Abdullah's got to be there as well. So lovely to see the Qureshis in the house. How will we find out what teacher we have? Well, it's not been decided yet. So I don't know the honest answer to that. Hopefully, Mrs. Harker will try and get all the staff together and try and work out what the classes are going to be like, because we're not too sure what the classes will be like next year as well, Arfa. But as soon as we decide, then we will tell you. Okay, I'm sure there'll be phone calls, or there might be a letter or a text home from Mrs. Harker. Done before the start of the summer holidays, but I honestly don't know. Okay, I'm sure whichever teacher you get, they'll be amazing. I miss my friends, Mariam. I know, Mariam, I'm exactly the same as well. I so miss primary 3 and all the fantastic people that were in it. But unfortunately, this time we can't all be together. And I even miss my friends as well. As you know, I like to play football, and I used to play football every Tuesday night and can't play football with my friends anymore. So I know how you feel, madam. It is tough, but we will get back to it. We will get back to it. Aidan. Hi, Aidan. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining. Fantastic. Lovely to see you. And I miss you too, Mr. Corrigan. Oh, thank you very much, Mariam. Right, I think enough talking of just introducing and stuff. So we'll get started off with Reader's Choice. So this is The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Feel free to say hello during the reading, and I'll maybe stop once or twice, especially between the stories, and I'll just give a wee hello. So, Adil, nice to see you. Thank you for joining, Adil. Hope you enjoy our stories about the tiger who came to tea. Then Puss in Boots. Okay, right, let's see. So this is The Tiger Who Came to Tea. This is The Tiger Who Came to Tea by Judith Kerr. And this was requested last week by Ridda. Great choice, Ridda. The Tiger Who Came to Tea. Once there was a little girl called Sophie, and she was having tea with her mummy in the kitchen. Suddenly, there was a ring at the door. girl with her mummy. Sophie's mummy said, I wonder who that can be. It can't be the milkman because he came this morning. And it can't be the boy from the grocer because this isn't the day he comes. And it can't be Daddy because he's got his keys. We'd better open the door and see. So there's Mummy, there's the milkman, there's the grocer, and there's Daddy with his keys in his hand. So he's definitely got his keys. Sophie opened the door and there was a big, furry, stripy tiger. The tiger said, "Excuse me, but I'm very hungry. Do you think I could have tea with you?" Sophie's mummy said, "Of course, come in." So the tiger came into the kitchen and sat down at the table. There we have the tiger at the door and then sitting down at the table. I think we've got another couple of people as well joining us. So we've got Narjena and Mikhail. Lovely to see you. Fantastic. And Abiha says, I've read this book before. I think most people have, but it's great to read the stories again. Sophie's mummy said, "Would you like a sandwich?" But the tiger didn't just take one sandwich. He took all the sandwiches on the plate and swallowed them up in one big mouthful. Ow! And he still looked hungry. So Sophie passed him the buns. There's a tiger there getting the buns passed to him. He looks pretty big and pretty hungry. But again, the tiger didn't eat just one bun. He ate all the buns on the dish. And then he ate all the biscuits and all the cake until there was nothing left to eat on the table. So Sophie's mum said, "Would you like a drink?" And the tiger drank all the milk in the milk jug and all the tea in the teapot. There he is. Didn't even drink it in a cup. Straight from the teapot. And then he looked round the kitchen to see what else he could find. There he is, the little girl. Lucy gave him a big hug looking around the kitchen. Imagine having a tiger in your kitchen. If a tiger fits in your kitchen, don't think it would fit in my kitchen. He ate all the supper that was cooking in the saucepans and the food in the fridge. So there we have saucepans. He's opened the fridge, having a wee rummage around, maybe a little midnight feast for him. And all the packets and tins in the cupboard. And there he is in the cupboard, standing on two legs. And he drank all the milk and all the orange juice and all Daddy's beer and all the water in the tap. Here he is drinking from the tap in the sink. Little Lucy, loving just having a little hug of his tail. Then he said, "Thank you for my nice tea. I think I better go now." And he went. Sophie's mummy said, "I don't know what to do. I've got nothing for Daddy's supper. The tiger has eaten it all." There he is waving bye-bye, and Mummy realising Daddy's going to have nothing. And Sophie found she couldn't even have her bath because the tiger had drunk all the water in the tap. Just then, Sophie's daddy came home. And there's Sophie just about to get into the bath. Daddy's home. He looks hungry. So Sophie and her mummy told him what had happened and how the tiger had eaten all the food and drunk all the drink. And Sophie's daddy said, "I know what we'll do. I've got a very good idea. We'll put on our coats and go to a cafe." That is a good idea. So there's Daddy there. Mummy explaining the situation and then everybody getting their coats on to go to the cafe for maybe nice little treats. So they went out in the dark and all the street lamps were lit and all the cars had their lights on, and they walked down the road to a cafe. There they are walking down the street. I think as well with the theme of the cats, there's a nice little cat in the street as well. These cats are getting everywhere today. And they had a lovely supper with sausages and chips and ice cream. In the morning, Sophie and her mummy went shopping and they bought lots more things to eat. And they also bought a very big tin of tiger food in case the tiger should come to tea again. Here we have them in the cafe and buying some food and then a tin of tiger foods. Now, I've been to Asda and Tesco and Morrison's and Sainsbury's lots of times and I've never seen tiger food. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. But he never did. Just once. And he says, singing out, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. The end. Fantastic. Well done, Ridda. That's a great choice of the tiger who came to tea. Brilliant. So just a reminder as well, if you want to give any requests for next week, I think we've had one request so far. The theme's going to be Roald Dahl. So if you wanted to choose any of the Roald Dahl books, then I could read maybe a chapter or two from it. Any ones at all. I think that Miss Graham's going to read out loud and post on the Infants YouTube channel about the Twits. So maybe any of them apart from the Twits. Okay, so that sounds like a good idea. Now, next one. So Hadia last week had said, could I have a story about cats? So we've had one, and now we're going to have a second one. So this one is called Puss in Boots. Okay, it's a strange fairy tale because the cat can talk and do lots of different things. Normally cats can't really do those type of things. But anyway, we just go with it. I've also seen as well Puss in Boots in pantomime, and it was great fun, really funny. Has anybody else been to a pantomime? Not been for a couple of years, but I do remember seeing Puss in Boots, and it was excellent, really funny. So Ridda said, thank you, Mr. Corrigan. You're very welcome, Ridda. It was a great choice, and I love the tiger who came to tea. So well done, you deserve it. Thank you very much for the great choice. And Biha says, cats? Yes, cats. So the next story is Puss in Boots. It's a classic start for a fairy tale. How does a fairy tale start normally? Once upon a time, there lived a poor miller who had 3 sons. When he died, all he owned was divided between his sons, and the eldest had the mill. The second son had a donkey and cart, and all that was left for the youngest son was the miller's black cat. The boy was very fond of the cat, but could not see how she would ever make his fortune. As he stroked her gently, she said, "Don't worry, master. If you do what I tell you, you will see what I can do for you. First, get me a large bag and a pair of boots." The miller's son took the last few shillings he had and bought the cat a large bag and a pair of yellow boots. Have you ever seen a cat in boots before? I haven't. So there we have mill, which is just short for a windmill. And maybe it was used to grind flour or some other type of grain in there. So that was left to the eldest son. Miss Graham said, I will also read some of the suggestions of Roald Dahl books and we can maybe hear lots of different stories. That's a great idea. Fantastic. The cat put on her new boots and went out into the garden. She picked up some lettuce and put it in her new bag. Then off she went across the fields until she found a rabbit hole. She put the bag down with its mouth wide open so the lettuce could be seen. Then she hid herself between a low hedge. Soon a fat grey rabbit popped his head out of the hole. He smelt the fresh lettuce and jumped into the bag to eat it. Puss in Boots immediately leapt from behind the hedge and swiftly drew the strings of the bag together, and the fat rabbit was caught. Then Puss slung the bag over her shoulder and set off in her yellow boots until she came to the king's palace. She presented herself to the king and bowing low, said, "Your Majesty, I have brought you a fat rabbit from the estate of my master, the Marquis of Carabas." The king was amused at the sight of a black cat in yellow boots, but he accepted the gift. The next day, Puss put a handful of grain into her bag and went out to the fields. She set the bag as before and lay down beside it, pretending to be dead. So there we have the first picture is the Puss trapping the fat grey rabbit, and then the second one is taking the rabbit to the king's palace as a present. This time, two pheasants came and started to eat the grain. She waited for the right moment and quickly gathered up the strings of the bag, catching both birds inside. Once more, she set off for the palace and presented herself to the king. "My master, the Marquis of Carabas, begs your acceptance of these two pheasants," said Puss in Boots, bowing gracefully. "Tell your master," said the king, "that I'm pleased to accept his gift. He must have a very fine estate." "Oh, indeed it is, very fine," said Puss, as she bowed and took her leave of the king. As she passed through the great halls, she heard that the king and his daughter were going to drive beside the river that afternoon. Puss raced home to her master and told him about her visit to the palace, and then commanded him, "I want you to go and swim in the river, and if anyone asks your name, you are to say that you are the Marquis of Carabas." So he left Puss in Boots to guard his clothes and went and swam in the river. Puss carefully hid the clothes under a pile of stones and waited for the royal carriage. As it approached, Puss ran out shouting, "Help! Help! The Marquis of Carabas is drowning!" The king ordered the coach to stop and sent his servants to rescue the Marquis. Then Puss went up to the carriage and, with his hat in his hand, bowed to the king and princess and said, "We are indeed so grateful that you have happened to be passing just now. But alas, a thief has stolen my master's clothes." So there we have the pheasant. If you don't know what a pheasant is, you should be reading Danny Champion of the World, because pheasants are big in that story. It's a type of bird. And there we have the Marquis of Carabas swimming in the water and the king passing by, thankfully just in time to rescue him. The king sent a servant to the palace to get a suit, and when the miller's son put it on, he looked just like a prince. "This is my master, the Marquis of Carabas," Puss to the king and princess, as she graciously introduced him. "We hope you will drive on and dine with the Marquis." "It will be a pleasure," replied the king. He invited the Marquis to ride in his carriage. Of the carriage and took a shortcut beside some hay. They stared at the sight of a black cat in yellow boots, and she told them sternly, "When the king passes this way and asks to whom this field of hay belongs to, you are to say, 'To the Marquis of Carabas, your Majesty.' If you don't, you'll be chopped into little pieces." There she ran on until she came to a field where reapers were busy cutting the wheat. "When the king passes this way," said Puss, "and asks to whom this field of wheat belongs to, you are to say, 'To the Marquis of Carabas, your Majesty.' If you don't, you'll be chopped into little pieces." Seems a bit harsh, but maybe Puss has got a plan. So there we have there in the prince's clothes, and there we have Puss on his journey trying to convince all the other people to say that all these parts of the land belong to the Marquis of Carabas. Now, the land really belonged to an ogre. Every fairy tale has an ogre or a monster in it, doesn't it? And Puss in Boots carried on running until she reached the great castle where the ogre lived. No one had ever visited him because he was so frightening. But when he opened the door, Puss walked straight in, showing off her fine boots. The ogre was so shocked that he could only stare at her. "I have heard that you can turn yourself into a wild beast. Is that true?" said Puss calmly. "Well, naturally," said the ogre, swelling with pride. And then in a flash, he became a roaring lion. Poor Puss ran and hid herself up the chimney. The ogre changed himself back again and laughed at Puss, who said, "It is truly wonderful that an ogre such as yourself can become a great lion. But I very much doubt that you could change into a tiny creature, say a mouse." "Phew, no problem at all," said the ogre, and in an instant he had disappeared, and Puss saw a tiny mouse running across the room. She pounced and seized the creature, and with one shake, the ogre was dead. And there's a picture of the ogre as himself before he turns himself into the scary lion and the tiny mouse. So this Puss is very, very smart, isn't she? At this moment, the king's carriage drew up outside the castle. "You have a splendid castle and estate," said the king to the miller's son, for sure enough the haymakers and reapers had obeyed Puss and told him that all the land belonged to the Marquis of Carabas. "And this is a magnificent castle you have." They went inside and sat down to a feast. "This young man would make a good husband for my daughter," thought the king. "Your title does not match your wealth. I command that you will now be a prince." And the princess loved that prince, and he loved her. And there's Puss after the mouse, and there's a magnificent feast of the king and the princess, the Puss in Boots, and of course now the prince. So they were married and lived together happily in the ogre's castle. Puss in Boots lived in comfort to the end of her life, and she never had to hunt again. There we have the Puss there, relaxing. It looks like maybe a throne. Maybe when the prince is away, she's managed to get in there, but she looks delighted with herself. So that's our stories all about cats. And I think we're just about at the end because we're coming up to 3 o'clock as well. And I just want to say thank you very much for everybody for watching and listening and making little comments as well, because it makes it so much better for me to be able to read the comments and to know that people are listening as well. Abia says that was long. Yes, fairy tales are generally long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so feel free, if you want to, you can watch this back again as well. It'll be on the Infants YouTube channel. If you have any other requests, remember we are doing our Roald Dahl theme for next week. Just a quick reminder, we've got the Giraffe, the Pelly and Me, we've got Going Solo, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG, George's Marvelous Medicine, we've got Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, we've got Fantastic Mr. Fox, we've got the Enormous Crocodile, we've got James and the Giant Peach, we've got the Twits, which I think that Miss Graham's going to read anyway, we've got S.E.O. Trot, we've got Matilda, we've got Boy Tales of the Childhood, we've got The Witches, and we have got the Magic Finger as well. Okay, so we've got one suggestion of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Brilliant. I'm sure that most of you have seen the film. I think there's maybe about 2 or 3 different versions of the film as well, but all of them are brilliant. And what I'll do next week is I will maybe read 1 or maybe 2 chapters from whichever book has been chosen. It won't necessarily be from the start. I might choose maybe 2 of my favourite chapters from it, because I know most of these books really, really well. So final thank you. Thank you, Miss Graham, as well for watching. You take care. Have yourself a lovely week. I forgot to say Eid Mubarak as well. I didn't say that, did I? Because obviously Eid was over the weekend. And those that were celebrating it, I hope you had a fantastic time. And even if you weren't celebrating it, I hope that you had a nice long May weekend. So thank you very much. Glad you enjoyed it. Arfa as well. That's great. Please come back next week. I will put in the blog and I'll put on Facebook as well, whether it'll be next Wednesday or next Thursday. Okay, so until then, thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy the sunshine as well. I'll miss you. Bye.